Good evening. Welcome to FRC Media News for Thursday, October 5th, 2017. I'm Keith Tebow. Tonight we have an update on the proposed construction of a new Durfee High School and a public hearing coming up on that topic, a report on recent repairs to other Fall River public school buildings, and we have information concerning an upcoming Candidates Youth Forum. But first, let's check in with the headline news of the week. We bring in Fall River Herald News digital editor Will Richmond. Will, how are you?
I'm good, Keith. How are you doing?
Good. You know, a lot going on in the area. Let's unfortunately talk about the continuing saga that is Mayor Jaziel Correa and the Fall River Office of Economic Development, or FROED. We've been talking about this quite a bit over the past year. A lot of what has happened has been pretty much well known. The city, in effect, earlier this year, kicked FROED out of its offices on the 6th floor, saying that it owed back rent. The organization now moved into the Cherry and Webb building in downtown Fall River. There had been moves afoot to have both Mayor Correa and the FROED board continue to work together in terms of working together and improving economic development in Fall River. FROED, of course, still does have a contract with the Fall River Redevelopment Authority. But what is new this week is apparently Mayor Correa has said in the past that in terms of the owing of back rent, that FROED may not have been on a very solid financial footing. And FROED this week came out and said that, no, we're doing quite well, thank you. So what can you tell us about this latest dust-up?
Sure. Well, as the mayor has made his claims that FROED is insolvent, that they're going to run out of cash, especially as he has removed the Community Development Agency funding via the community block development grants that FROED has traditionally received of just over $300,000. That, along with the potential of the Redevelopment Authority contract, which is about $125,000. The mayor had put out the word that his belief was FROED was going to run out of money and become sort of an organization with that wouldn't be able to run anymore. As he's made these claims, the FROED board has kind of shot back at him. There have been some attempts at a reconciliation between the two sides that fizzled out. The board recently voted to keep Ken Fiola on and vote of confidence in him. And so they're coming back against these claims that the mayor's made about the organization's solvency. And so as this has gone on, we had asked the board to come in and meet with the editorial board here at the Herald News and present their numbers to show us and to kind of move this conversation from the mayor says they're insolvent, the FROED board says they're solvent. We asked them to put the numbers on the table and show us what they've got. So that's what happened this week. Their claims are they're in good financial standing. They have more funds in reserve than they have in recent years. And, they'll continue to move forward with or without that CDA money as allocated by the mayor.
One of the things that's proving to be very important is last week, which we had on our program, City Council Vice President and mayoral candidate Linda Pereira came out last week. She had a news conference at the South Coast Marketplace where she was, in effect, very supportive of FROED and their operation and hoping to work with them going forward, while the mayor has not been shy about saying that he's more willing to look at the possibility of the city creating its own economic development arm. This is turning out, well, to be a big issue that will probably play itself out in the election, in that if Mayor Correa wins a second term, they may probably go it alone, and if Linda Pereira wins, we may see FROED back in the fold.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Mayor Correa has made his move on the CDA money. He also does have control of the Redevelopment Authority board as well. So with the ability to make appointments to that board, some members, as their terms expire, others have resigned, he is in position, if he gets reelected, at least to sort of put his people on that board, which would certainly shift the vote in his favor if he wants to get that contract with FROED to come to an end. That would take away that money from FROED, and it would certainly change the dynamics of what FROED will do in this city. The reduction of the CDA funds has already shifted that in some ways. But as you mentioned, Linda Pereira has said she will look to return Froed to its previous status in the city. So, yeah, this is a decision that's going to weigh pretty big on the election day, and we'll see how much voters are interested in the dynamics of who's
Yeah.
running economic development over whose mayoral plans are more interesting to them.
And for a lot of voters, that may be tough for them to wrap their heads around, not knowing the history of Froed and how they've served the city in the past. All right, moving forward, we have talked a lot on this program about a number of empty mill space within the city of Fall River. Of course, the King Philip Mill getting a lot of attention in terms of its revitalization into affordable and local housing for the city of Fall River. You guys had a story this week in the paper about the closure now about 2 years of Duro Textiles in the South End and its proximity to Cuss Middle School, and how city officials and school department officials are looking at potential issues with that facility so close to the middle school with it being vacant. Fill us in on what you guys found out.
Sure. Well, as part of the city's planning, because that mill is located, I mean, literally steps away from Cuss Middle School, they are, they want to make sure that there are evacuation plans in place if anything should happen with that mill. Some people may recall, I think it's maybe about 7 years ago now, if not longer, one of the much older, I believe, Duro mills, also near Cuss Middle School, was involved in a significant fire. And that one was about a stone's throw away from the school. And that fortunately came towards the end of the school day. I think they were able to get all the kids out without much of a problem. But, the main idea is with that school being so close, with there being limited egress from the school to the main roads, such as Bay Street, that they want to make sure there's an evacuation plan in place to get all the students, all the staff out in an orderly manner in what is a very sort of tight area to get kids and people out of from Cuss Middle School.
Yeah, and it's good that the school department, the city, is being that forward thinking in a way, because a lot of times we don't hear of plans until, unfortunately, it's too late. So in this case, it's good that Cuss and the school department are looking at ways to be proactive in terms of warding off any issues if they were to arise. All right, Will, what's coming up at the paper over the next few days?
Sure. This weekend we dive into some of the election coverage. We'll be bringing readers a full plate of info on the school committee candidates. So we've posed a couple questions for them to answer, much like we did with the mayoral candidates before the preliminary. Asking them what their biggest concern is about the school department and how they'll handle it. So you can read all about that online tomorrow and in Sunday's paper.
All right, and Election Day is, let's see if my math is right, 33 days away. October 5th, November 7th, 31 days in October. I think that's about right. All right, Will, we'll talk again next week. Have a good weekend.
All right, you too, Keith.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Fall River Career Center. Medical receptionist. Primacare, located at 277 Pleasant Street, is looking for a full-time medical receptionist responsible for attending to patients, organizing and coordinating appointments, and documentation to support quality patient care. Job number 961-2771. Engineering administrative assistant. Advanced Career Services is in need of a full-time engineering administrative assistant to assist the engineering department in the carrying out of various administrative tasks associated with construction sites in the Fall River area. Job number 960-7387. Dental Assistant. Dental Dreams, located at 45 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, is looking for a full-time dental assistant to provide support to the office staff and assist the dental staff with treatment and care to patients. Job number 961-2647. Burlington Coat Factory, located at 560 William S. Canning Boulevard, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions. Markdown Associate, job number 960-5621. Cashier, job number 961-1241. Lewe Associate, job number 9605617. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is looking to fulfill the following full-time positions for the 2017 and 2018 school year. Teacher Interventionist, job number 9598530. Math Teacher, job number 9602523. For more information on these or other positions, visit FRCMediaNews.org or call the Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. A public forum will be held next Thursday evening, October 12th, to give Fall River residents a chance to ask questions about the proposed construction of a new BMC Durfee High School. If voters give the project the green light during a special election scheduled for March of next year, the new structure will be built at Durfee's current Ellsbury Street location with a cost of about $260 million. FRC Media News asked Chief Operating Officer Ken Pacheco his prediction about what residents may ask.
I'm going to guess that a lot of the questions will be how big the building is, how tall it is, how the bell tower is gaining a lot of attention, how we're going to incorporate the bell tower that's currently on site into the new building, so it'll actually be part of the building. The spoiler alert is that it's going to look a lot more like the old Durfee than it does the Durfee that they're currently in.
And whose decision was that?
I think in a lot of the conversation with teachers, faculty, students, alum, I think that they're looking for a little throwback to that beautiful building on Rock Street.
Now tell us about the bell tower. Why is that such an integral part of the design?
There's been so much time spent and money by a group that was put together to try and restore the bells. There was some missing bells that had to be recreated. The mechanisms, the amount of work that went into 16 years worth, from what I'm being told. There's an awful lot of time spent, and precious time, obviously, to have a finished product that they have right now. So a lot of care through the architects in trying to make this fit and give it a suitable home. And I think everyone is going to be very happy with what they see. Again, it's early on, so those who are going to come to that meeting will hear firsthand. Les Corey, who I think is the chairman of that Bells committee, he will be there and to answer some questions as to how they got to this point and how that particular committee feels about the proposition of putting that into the new building.
When you say into, do you mean physically into the building, or will it be outside?
It will be inside the building. It will be up in a bell tower exactly like it used to be at the old Rock Street location. And when you look at the front of the building, you're going to see a lot of similarities. The observatory tower will be there also. The grand entrance of Durfee High School will be there. So we've tried to incorporate as much of the old Durfee as we can to obviously show off the history of Fall River.
In other news concerning school department matters and the improvement of our local schools, Superintendent Matt Malone says he's pleased to report that numerous Fall River public school buildings underwent facelifts over the summer at an affordable cost of about $400,000.
Our facility and maintenance crews worked all summer in partnership with folks from the city as well. We did over 30 construction projects, so you can see the new Stone School at Westall. That whole building has been built and retrofit to support the very specific needs of the Stone School students and families. We did, if you go visit the Henry Lord School right now, it looks like a totally new building. We did a ton of work to get that place. We built essentially a brand new welcoming main office that's front and center now. and it's easy to command and control and get folks fired up. We were just visiting there, and the enhancements, we took down trees, we painted the outside, we painted the inside. I mean, all this work was phenomenal. Well, we did some work at the Font School. We built a new STEAM center, so we got technology, arts, in integrated makerspace now in an area that was a library that was no longer in use. And we put all the books into the classrooms where they should be, and we invested in this new space. We have new floor, new classrooms built at the Durfee, because the old Durfee we're going to have for a couple of years still till we build a new one. So we put a new wood floor in the Trade Winds restaurant. We're hoping that gets more traction, more investment from our local citizenry. We also built some new early childhood classrooms and some special education classrooms there. We did a ton of work across the system. We were out at Talbot earlier. Wow. The Talbot, I've never seen a school shining so brightly as what we did. And they did some little enhancements about how kids walk on each side of the hallway. We actually got lines down the hallway now to make sure that we got rules and procedures and systems in place. So we did a ton of work.
Young people in Fall River will have a chance to ask candidates running for office in the city election questions during a youth candidates forum later this month. Fall River Recreation is sponsoring the event. We asked project director Anne Marie Holly the importance of youth meeting mayoral, city council, and school committee candidates face to face.
We wanted to make sure that we were giving the youth an opportunity to have a voice in this election, whether they're voting age or not. They're just as important as any citizen that lives in Fall River. So we wanted them to be able to kind of talk with the candidates and let them know the issues that they're facing, as well as the strengths they believe the city has, and just kind of get their voice out there and be heard.
Now, I know you've done this in the past. What were some of the concerns over the last couple of years?
Sure. So some of the youth that were on our panel just a couple of years ago, which was our first youth candidate night, they spoke about body image issues. They spoke about growing up in foster care. They spoke about self-harm, and then support for after-school programming, that kind of stuff. They spoke up about youth violence in the community, and so a bunch of different topics. And we kind of, as the adults that are working with the youth, kind of work with them to say, okay, this is your experience, so maybe you'll focus on this topic, and this is your experience, so you'll focus on this topic. So they're not all talking about the same thing over and over again, and they're talking about their individual experiences.
Some people wonder why you, quote unquote, bother with the youth candidate night, because the kids aren't eligible to vote, and they're actually saying, what's the point? What would you say to them?
I mean, the youth are our future, and they're make up a huge population in this city, and they have the power to affect change, whether they're of voting age or not. So I think them knowing that their opinion matters, and the candidates being able to make a pledge to the youth if they are elected into office is a huge deal. And I think that they're affected by a lot of the issues that we talk about on a daily basis in Fall River, especially when you look at the school committee and, building a new Durfee and the decisions that they make every single day directly affects these young people. So I think they have a lot to say, and I think it's beneficial for all of us as adults to listen.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Today on Hot Dogs and Cool Cats, we're here at Forever Paws Animal Shelter, and we don't just have dogs and cats. In fact, today we have two turtles here. They are red-eared sliders. They're both about 3 years old. They've been basically together for their whole life, so it would be great if somebody could adopt them together, but they don't necessarily have to. They are aquatic turtles, so they will need access to fresh water, like a terrarium, that sort of thing, with a haul-out spot so that they can get onto land, or even if you put like a rock, that sort of thing in the terrarium they could get up onto. They're very nice turtles. This guy here, he's a little bit, this is Frack, he's a little bit more skittish than Frick, but they are very nice. So if you have any interest in coming to see these neat little dudes, come on down to 300 Linwood Street, and we are Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
We have Geneva, and she is a black tabby. She is currently 19 weeks old, and she just had a spay, but that's not stopping her from playing. She's so full of love and affection towards people, especially. She loves to cuddle up. So if you want to come down and meet her, come to Forever Paws. We are open 6 days a week. Open every day besides for Wednesday, 11 to 4. So come on down and meet her.
Month into the new school year, enrollment at Bristol Community College in Fall River is down over last year. FRC Media News spoke with BCC Board of Trustees Chairperson Joe Marshall, who gives us both reasons and solutions.
Well, historically, and we're seeing it now, unemployment numbers are down, so that means people are working. They don't feel the need to be retrained or continuing their education. They're satisfied. But when unemployment is up, then you have people looking at other options. So that right now enrollment is down because employment is up. But we're working on that, and what we're doing is we're focusing on different models, like making it easier for veterans to enroll. We're going out, as opposed to sitting behind the desk, we're actually going out to veterans organizations and telling them the benefit. And then also the other would be the senior population. Give them every opportunity. We have locations in 4 different cities, so we're not saying Fall River is the answer. We're doing the same thing in every one of our locations. So it's one BCC.
Do you think that less of the younger people coming out of high school are taking advantage of the community college experience?
I can't really speak to that. I really don't know. We are in the high schools. Could we do a better job? I think in any occupation we could do a better job. I'm looking at the new president has new ideas. So with the new president, I think we've got a new energy. She might have a different, and she's new, may have a different spin on some of the things that we're doing now.
That'll do it for this edition of FRC Media News. You can catch FRC Media News Thursdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. and online at our website, frcmedianews.org. For all of us here at FRC Media News, have a great week. I'm Keith Tebow. We'll see you next Thursday.